Deep within every human being exists a side that is rarely acknowledged, a side that remains hidden behind the masks we wear each day. This is the shadow, the part of us we often push away, the impulses, fears, and desires that we judge as unworthy or unacceptable. From childhood, we are taught to present only what is considered good, proper, or admirable, and in the process we begin to exile pieces of ourselves into darkness. Yet those very pieces we reject do not vanish. They wait quietly in the depths of our being, influencing our choices, shaping our emotions, and whispering truths we refuse to hear. The shadow is not a curse. It is a hidden source of wisdom. And when ignored, it can become a weight that pulls us into confusion, conflict, or self-sabotage. But when faced with courage, it becomes the very map that leads us toward a deeper understanding of who we are meant to be. Most people live with the illusion that the shadow must be fought against or destroyed. They view it as the enemy, a dark force that threatens the light they seek. But the truth is far more profound. The shadow is not the opposite of light, it is its counterpart, and without it, there can be no wholeness. Just as the night sky reveals the brilliance of stars, the shadow side of our nature reveals the hidden sparks of potential that can illuminate our path. The emotions we suppress, anger, jealousy, fear, insecurity, are not random flaws. They are signals, indicators of wounds left unhealed and desires left unexpressed. Instead of fearing these emotions, we must learn to listen to them, for they carry messages about the purpose we were born to fulfill. When you turn away from your shadow, you are, in fact, turning away from parts of yourself that hold vital keys to your growth. Every trait you dislike, every feeling you avoid, is a doorway to self-discovery. If you feel anger often, it may be pointing toward a passion for justice, a need to stand for truth, or a voice that longs to be heard. If you feel fear, it may be guiding you toward the very area of life where your courage is meant to shine. If you feel envy, it may be showing you what you secretly desire to create, what you are capable of, but too afraid to claim. The shadow does not lie. It reflects what you refuse to admit, and in that reflection lies the blueprint of your destiny. The tragedy is that so many people spend their lives pretending that this part of them does not exist. They polish the surface, present the perfect image, and live according to the expectations of others, while the shadow grows heavier with every unacknowledged truth. The more we suppress it, the more it leaks out in destructive ways, through sudden bursts of anger, through silent resentment, through endless cycles of self-doubt. But when we stop running and finally turn to face it, the shadow transforms. It reveals its hidden gifts. It shows us that the very traits we thought were weaknesses can become strengths when embraced with awareness. What once felt like chaos begins to feel like guidance, and what once seemed like darkness begins to shine with purpose. The shadow is not a burden to carry, but an invitation to wholeness. It is a reminder that your life's purpose cannot be discovered by chasing only the light. It is uncovered when you dare to enter the hidden corners of your being, when you gather every fragmented piece of yourself and accept it as part of the whole. The shadow is not a mistake. It is your teacher, your mirror, and your path toward becoming who you truly are. By acknowledging it, you open the door to a life that is not only authentic, but deeply aligned with the reason you are here. The shadow is not simply a collection of flaws, it is a teacher that holds some of life's most important lessons. Within the very parts of ourselves we try to bury are hidden clues to our deepest truths. Every suppressed emotion, every unacknowledged desire, and every unhealed wound carries a message about what we are here to become. When we feel jealousy, it is often pointing towards something we long to create for ourselves. When we feel fear, it is showing us the exact place where our courage is meant to grow. When we feel anger, it may be revealing the strength of our passion, a fire that has been stifled for too long. These emotions do not appear to destroy us, they rise to guide us. Yet most people silence them without ever listening, missing the treasures hidden within their discomfort. The shadow also contains the raw energy of authenticity. It holds the parts of us that do not conform, the parts that refuse to be tamed by society's expectations. These are the aspects of ourselves that often frighten us, because they do not fit neatly into the image we want to present to the world. But beneath that fear lies power. The shadow shows us where we have abandoned ourselves for the sake of acceptance, and it asks us to reclaim those lost pieces. In doing so, we discover strengths we never knew we had, passions we never dared to follow, and truths we were too afraid to speak. To see the shadow as an enemy is to remain in a constant battle with ourselves, but to see it as a teacher is to begin a journey of integration and growth. It is not here to destroy us, but to reveal us. By paying attention to what the shadow brings forth, we begin to understand that our most uncomfortable feelings are not barriers to purpose, but bridges toward it. They invite us to explore, to heal, and to rise into the fullness of who we are meant to be. When we find the courage to turn toward the shadow instead of running from it, something remarkable happens. The heaviness we once carried begins to transform into clarity and strength. What we once labeled as flaws reveal themselves as hidden gifts, waiting to be awakened. The struggles we try so hard to hide often hold the seeds of our greatest power. A person who has known deep fear can develop unshakable courage. One who has carried shame can learn compassion for others in ways that no surface confidence could ever teach. The shadow becomes the raw material from which wisdom, resilience, and authenticity are born. Facing what we fear in ourselves does not mean glorifying our pain or indulging in negativity. It means acknowledging that these experiences exist and allowing them to teach us instead of controlling us. Denial chains us, but acceptance frees us. Every time we suppress an emotion, we give it more power in the dark. But when we bring it into the light of awareness, it begins to lose its grip. Fear becomes a guide. Anger becomes a voice for truth. Doubt becomes a reminder of where faith must grow. This is the alchemy of the human spirit, turning the darkness into light, transforming wounds into wisdom, and struggles into stepping stones. The shadow does not disappear when we face it, it integrates. It becomes part of a greater wholeness, a fuller version of who we are. And in that wholeness lies direction. When the rejected pieces are welcomed back, we stop living in conflict with ourselves and begin living in alignment. This alignment is the spark that reveals purpose. It is the clarity that shows us not just who we are, but what we are here to give. The darkness was never meant to destroy us. It was meant to shape us, refine us, and lead us into the light of our true calling. The journey through the shadow leads us a profound realization. What we once believed was holding us back is in fact pointing us forward. The shadow is not an obstacle but a compass, a guide that reveals direction when we are brave enough to listen. Every moment of doubt, every hidden wound, every painful memory carries within it the potential to uncover why we are here. Our purpose is rarely found in the places where everything feels easy. It is discovered in the very struggles that challenge us to grow. The parts of life that once made us feel broken often become the very foundation upon which we build meaning. When we stop running from ourselves and instead embrace every part of who we are, something shifts within. We begin to see that purpose is not something given to us from the outside. It emerges from within when we align with the truth of our whole being. The shadow shows us the doors we have avoided opening, and behind those doors lie the passions, the callings, and the strengths we were meant to embody. Wholeness becomes the key. For only when we stop dividing ourselves into acceptable and unacceptable parts can we live with authenticity. And only through authenticity can we live with purpose. Life does not ask us to be perfect, it asks us to be real. The shadow teaches us that even our imperfections carry meaning, that even our pain has a place in the story of who we are becoming. To embrace the shadow is to step into a life where nothing is wasted, where every mistake, every weakness, every challenge becomes a thread woven into the fabric of destiny. The path to purpose is not about escaping the darkness, but about transforming it into light. It is about claiming every part of ourselves and walking forward with the power of wholeness. In that wholeness, we discover that our shadow was never an enemy at all. It was the very guide leading us home to the reason we are here.